Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to have you with us today. I'm happy to welcome you in the capital city of Ukraine, the city of Kiev, at this very special event dedicated to a special initiative which is being conducted at a very special, unique day for Ukraine. Every day, the last Saturday of November, we commemorate the sad memory of millions of people who were tortured, men and women, adults and children, millions of children who have become the victims of the Holodomor of 1932-33, in 1946-47, and in those darkest years of 1932-1933. And today is the 90th anniversary of the genocide that was organized against us by the totalitarian regime of Stalin. Different historians give different numbers of victims, but all of them, in any case, are shocking. We're talking about millions of people tortured to death, something like 4 to 8 million of Ukrainians killed. And we remember what it is when your nation is becoming a victim of destruction. And surely everyone has some of their relatives in the Book of Remembrance. We remember these stories by people who managed to survive the horrors, these very horrible memories when everything is being taken, when you can be shot dead for a bowl of wheat, when a family is trying to divide, well, just a piece of bread in order to have something to eat for a week or so, when there's no efforts, no forces to keep on living, how it's hard to fall asleep at night, when you simply starve, almost starve to death, when adults are falling on the street because of lack of force and lack of vital energies, and nobody is capable to bury them, how the whole families were starved to death, the whole villages starved to death, and now in this independent country, in this new millennia, our grandfathers and grandmothers who survived this Holodomor, they had a very strange attitude towards the food, and they were collecting every bit of the food left after the dinner, because they said, you know, there was the times when a piece of bread and a bowl of borscht was something that we've dreamed of. We remember about this. We have to, and we can see what is happening in the world, what is happening in Ukraine. Once again, they want to destroy Ukraine with shells, with ammunition, and once again with famine. On 24th of February, Russia has started a full-scale war against our nation, against our country. There was this occupation, the blockade, that left thousands of people without food from the very beginning. We will not allow to leave millions of people in the world without the food and water. We remember how it was happening in the past, and how it was happening today under present times. We shall not allow this to happen, not tomorrow, not in Ukraine, not in other countries of the world. Our flag is the blue sky, as well as the yellow fields full of grain. Our country was always traditionally worked as one of the largest exporters of food in different countries of the world. And in many continents, our wheat is highly appreciated, both in the Middle East, and the same for the dairy products, corn, wheat. The sunflower oil was something that was available at the shelves at the stores around the world. Unfortunately, this year is different because Russian forces have surrounded the ports, have blocked the seaports. They provoked the food crisis, and that resulted in a significant increase in the prices for the food products, which have affected the ordinary people around the world, that undermines the stability as well as the regional security. There's massive outrages because of the significant increase in the prices for the fuel, for the food products. We have to prevent the further spread of this crisis, of this global challenge, and Ukraine, one of the guarantors of the world food security, shall continue to make its key contribution despite the war, despite the challenges, despite any attempts to destroy us. Ukraine will commit and will comply with its export commitments in terms of grain and other agricultural products on the international market. Ukraine fights for its life. It fights for the life of other nations, the life without lack of freedom, without the hunger. And the first practical example was the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Ukrainian food products were deblocked, and currently something around 500 ships left our ports carrying 12 million tons of agricultural products for 40 countries. We're talking about 12 million tons of products for these 40 countries and their societies, because whenever we're talking about the continents and the number of countries, we're talking about millions of people, including those suffering from food crisis, those on the brink of hunger. Still, the grain initiative, unfortunately, is not working at 100% because Russia is trying to delay the movement of the ships, and currently 80 ships are waiting at the Bosphorus Strait for being allowed to pass. So we hope there will be a continuation of this initiative so that Russia would not be able to block that once again. And it's clear and it's evident that the full functioning of the grain corridor is insufficient to supply the food needs, particularly in countries that face the possibility of hunger. Now, in order to overcome these and different other food challenges, Ukraine have organized this summit of food security, and here I would like to tell you about this international initiative, and many countries have supported this Grain from Ukraine initiative, and it provides for the supply of Ukrainian products to the African and Asian countries. We have a very ambitious objective to save at least 5 million people from hunger. And on this path, Ukraine has made first steps. It has sent the first ships in the mid of November, 27,000 tons of wheat for Ethiopia. And today we are loading yet another ship carrying 30,000 tons of wheat for people of Ethiopia. And currently 3 more ships are about to reach our docks, and they will be heading, carrying 80,000 tons of food products for countries that need that. And the Grain from Ukraine initiative will provide for at least 60 ships. That is 10 ships per month, and these ships will be carrying food products to Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, Congo, Kenya, Nigeria. Now, all of these countries require the support. Just imagine one ship of grain will supply the necessary food for 90,000 people. Now, 60 ships like that will prevent the death from hunger to at least 5 million of people of the world. And we would like to invite other states to join this humanitarian program, as well as the socially responsible business. I'm happy to announce that at the day of this start of the Grain from Ukraine initiative, 20 countries have already joined this initiative, in fact, even more. And I'm happy that we've all gathered in Kiev, some offline, some online, but still, in this format, this international summit of food security, we have the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, the Federal Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz, the Prime Ministers of Poland, Lithuania, Romania, Belgium, Mateusz Morawiecki, Ingrida Shimonita, Nicolae Ciucă, Alexander De Croo, the President of Hungary, Katalin Novak, the UN Secretary General Mr. Guterres, the Prime Minister of Netherlands, Mark Rutte, the head of the government of Sweden, Ulf Kristersson, and of Croatia, Andrej Plenković, the presidents of Finland, Latvia, Estonia, Slovenia, and Bulgaria, the NATO Secretary General, the high officials of UK, Czech, Italy, Austria, Spain, Qatar, Canada, then US Agency on International Development, then the Switzerland Agency for Development and Cooperation, the World Health Program, the Food Agriculture Organization, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the UN. And I believe that we have a fairly powerful number of countries for the launch of this summit. So at the result of this summit, we shall publish the joint declaration. It remains open for joining by any of the other international entities or countries. Of course, we'll be happy to have not only the joining of this initiative, but any other formats, because this initiative is all about preventing hunger in the world, and the future of the humanity depends on the readiness to effectively respond to the challenges, and we need to have an effective mechanisms, and this initiative is a very fruitful and a very practical mechanism to ensure food security. And today I'd like to continue with this initiative. We could establish an international institution that would be an effective and active tool to prevent and to rapidly respond to international crises. We're talking about food, humanitarian security, with the headquarters in Kiev or in Odessa. And very soon, the ship in the frames of the Grain from Ukraine initiative will be launched from Odessa. So amidst this Russian aggression, it's important to recognize the Holodomor of 1932 and 33 as the genocide of the Ukrainian people. This was already done by the United States, Canada, Australia, Poland. On the overall, we have 17 countries. In 2022, Brazil and Czech have done this. Just recently, I've called upon other states and international organizations who have not done that. So on the 23rd of November, the decision was made by Romania. We're grateful for that. On the 24th of November, Ireland. On the 25th, Moldova. We call upon others to join this very important historical truth. This would be a considerable manifestation of solidarity of Ukraine at this period of hardships. There's something that you can do today, and the whole Ukraine will have a whole national minute of silence. We shall light the candle of memory, and we call all the other countries and nations to join. That's going to be 16 o'clock Kiev time, and in London it will be 1400, and New York and Toronto 9 a.m. in New Delhi 1913, Beijing 2200, and Tokyo and Seoul 2300. And we all remember our history. We're ready to build a new, justifiable future. In conclusion, I would like to invite everyone to Ukraine in next year, in a year, for the second summit of the food security as well, in order to assess the joint efforts, in order to outline the further plans. We can have we can achieve the results and overcome all the challenges. Only together we will be able to win Ukraine and the civilized world, without the war, without the terrorism, without the hunger. Thank you. Glory to Ukraine.